On August 14, 2001, the Morrison family from Denver, Colorado, consisting of parents David and Karen Morrison, along with their twin 16-year-old daughters Ashley and Brittany, vanished without a trace while on a camping vacation in Yellowstone National Park, disappearing during what should have been a routine day hike near the remote Shoshone Geyser Basin. The family had arrived at the park 3 days earlier for a week-long camping trip to celebrate the twins' upcoming senior year of high school, setting up their campsite at the Lewis Lake Campground and planning daily adventures to explore Yellowstone's most spectacular natural features. That morning, David had informed park rangers at the visitor center that they intended to hike the challenging but rewarding Shoshone Lake Trail, a 17-mile round trip that would take them through pristine wilderness areas rarely visited by casual tourists, with an estimated return time of 6 p.m. to their campsite. Where are you reading from? Share your city and country in the comments before we continue this story. The Morrison family were experienced hikers and campers who had previously completed challenging trails in Rocky Mountain National Park, the Grand Canyon, and other demanding wilderness areas, making their disappearance all the more puzzling for park officials who knew they were well prepared for backcountry conditions. When they failed to return by 8 p.m. that evening and were not at their campsite the following morning, fellow campers alerted park rangers, who immediately launched a comprehensive search and rescue operation involving helicopters, mounted patrol units, and specialized wilderness tracking teams. The initial search revealed that the family had signed the trailhead register at 7:30 a.m. and had been seen by other hikers near the halfway point around 10:12 a.m. But after that point, they seemed to have vanished completely from one of the most geologically active and potentially dangerous areas in North America. Their rental SUV remained parked at the trailhead with all their camping gear and food supplies still at their reserved campsite, suggesting they had planned to return as scheduled but had encountered some unknown fate along the remote wilderness trail. 11 years later, in a discovery that would shock the scientific community and provide tragic answers to one of Yellowstone's most baffling missing persons cases, construction workers installing new geothermal monitoring equipment would uncover the Morrison family's remains preserved in a previously unknown quicksand formation, deep within the park's volatile thermal features. The massive search operation for the Morrison family became one of the largest missing persons investigations in Yellowstone's history, involving over 200 searchers, including park rangers, FBI agents, local law enforcement, military personnel, and volunteer rescue organizations from across the Rocky Mountain region. Chief Ranger Michael Thompson coordinated the extensive effort that deployed helicopters with thermal imaging equipment, ground teams with search dogs specially trained for wilderness tracking, and even geologists who could assess the dangerous thermal features and unstable ground conditions that characterized the Shoshone Geyser Basin area. The search area encompassed over 100 square miles of some of Yellowstone's most challenging terrain, including active geysers, hot springs, unstable thermal crusts, dense forest, steep ravines, and areas where the ground temperature could exceed 200 degrees Celsius, just inches below the surface. Karen Morrison's sister Jennifer flew in from Phoenix to coordinate with investigators and provide detailed information about the family's hiking experience, mental state, and specific interests that might have led them to deviate from the established trail system. The investigation revealed that David Morrison was a geology professor at the University of Colorado, who had specifically chosen the Shoshone area because of his professional interest in geothermal features, while Karen was an experienced nature photographer who often wandered off marked trails to capture unique images of wildlife and geological formations. Search teams focused initially on the official Shoshone Lake Trail and its established camping areas, but gradually expanded their efforts to include unmarked thermal areas, animal trails, and remote locations where the family might have gone to photograph geysers or explore geological features. The extreme danger posed by Yellowstone's thermal features limited search operations in many areas, as rescue teams had to use specialized equipment and safety protocols to avoid falling through thin thermal crusts into boiling water, or being overcome by toxic gases that could be lethal within minutes. Interviews with other hikers revealed that the Morrison family had been asking questions about hidden geysers and thermal features that weren't on standard park maps, suggesting they might have been seeking less touristy locations for David's geological research and Karen's photography. The search operation continued for 6 weeks, with teams covering hundreds of square miles and investigating every possible scenario, from animal attacks to falling through thermal crusts. But the vast wilderness and dangerous conditions eventually forced authorities to scale back active search efforts while keeping the case open. The disappearance attracted national media attention and sparked discussions about visitor safety in Yellowstone's thermal areas, leading to improved warning systems and restricted access to some of the park's most dangerous geological features. The years following the Morrison family's disappearance were marked by Jennifer Morrison's tireless advocacy to keep the case active and her determination to find answers about what had happened to her sister's family, while the case became a symbol of the hidden dangers that exist even in America's most visited national parks. Jennifer established the Morrison Family Foundation, which funded continued search efforts, supported other families dealing with missing persons cases in national parks, and advocated for improved safety measures and emergency communication systems in remote wilderness areas. She organized annual memorial hikes that brought together volunteers, professional searchers, and the Morrison family's friends who refused to give up hope that some trace of the family might eventually be found in Yellowstone's vast wilderness. The foundation also worked with park officials to install emergency communication equipment along remote trails and to improve public education about the specific dangers posed by thermal features, unstable ground, and the unique geological hazards that make Yellowstone different from other national parks. David Morrison's colleagues at the University of Colorado continued his geothermal research while dedicating their findings to his memory, using his preliminary notes and research plans to advance scientific understanding of the thermal systems that had likely claimed his life. Karen's photography work gained posthumous recognition as galleries displayed her images of national parks and wilderness areas to raise awareness about both the beauty and dangers of America's protected landscapes. The case attracted attention from paranormal investigators and conspiracy theorists who proposed theories ranging from alien abduction to government cover-ups. But Jennifer and park officials consistently focused on the more likely explanation that the family had encountered one of Yellowstone's many natural hazards. Chief Ranger Thompson, who had led the original search operation, continued to investigate the case even after his retirement, following up on reported sightings, analyzing new satellite imagery, and consulting with geologists about areas that might not have been thoroughly searched due to their extreme danger. The Morrison case influenced changes in Yellowstone's visitor safety protocols, including new requirements for backcountry permits, improved trail marking in thermal areas, and enhanced training for park rangers in conducting searches near geothermal features. As years passed without any trace of the family being found, some began to accept that they might never be discovered in a park where thermal features could completely destroy organic material, or where bodies could be forever hidden in inaccessible underground caverns and hot springs. However, Jennifer never stopped believing that Yellowstone would eventually reveal its secrets and provide the closure that she and the Morrison family's friends desperately needed. In September 2012, 11 years after the Morrison family's disappearance, a team of geologists and engineers installing new seismic monitoring equipment in a previously restricted area of the Shoshone Geyser Basin made a discovery that would finally solve one of Yellowstone's most enduring mysteries. The installation team, led by Dr. Sarah Williams from the U.S. Geological Survey, was working in an area that had been off-limits to both visitors and researchers due to extremely unstable thermal conditions and the presence of unmapped underground hot springs and geysers. While drilling core samples to install seismic sensors, the team encountered an unexpected void in the ground that appeared to contain organic material preserved in what geologists recognized as a rare form of thermal quicksand created by the interaction of superheated water, silica deposits, and organic matter. Dr. Williams immediately contacted park authorities when preliminary examination suggested the organic material might be human remains, and the site was quickly secured while forensic specialists and law enforcement were summoned to investigate the find. When forensic anthropologists and crime scene investigators arrived at the location, they confirmed that the thermal quicksand formation contained the remarkably well-preserved remains of 4 individuals, along with hiking equipment, camera gear, and personal items that matched the description of the Morrison family's possessions. The unique preservation conditions created by the thermal quicksand had prevented normal decomposition while maintaining enough organic material for positive identification through dental records and DNA analysis, finally confirming that the Morrison family had been found after more than a decade of searching. The location where they were discovered was approximately 3 miles from the official Shoshone Lake Trail, in an area that had been considered too dangerous to search during the original investigation due to the risk of searchers themselves falling victim to the unstable thermal features. Geological analysis revealed that the Morrison family had likely been walking across what appeared to be solid ground when they encountered a hidden thermal quicksand formation that had trapped them before they could escape. A phenomenon so rare that it had never been previously documented in Yellowstone. The discovery not only provided closure for the Morrison family's loved ones, but also contributed valuable scientific knowledge about Yellowstone's geothermal processes and the hidden dangers that exist beneath seemingly stable surfaces in thermal areas. The investigation revealed that David Morrison's geological expertise had likely led the family to explore areas beyond the marked trails. But even his professional knowledge had not been sufficient to recognize the deadly hazard that had claimed their lives. The forensic investigation of the Morrison family's remains provided scientists and investigators with unprecedented insights into both the family's final hours and the rare geological phenomenon that had caused their deaths, while also revealing new information about the hidden dangers present in Yellowstone's thermal areas. The thermal quicksand formation that had trapped the Morrison family was determined to be the result of a complex interaction between underground hot springs, silica deposits from geothermal activity, and organic matter that had created a substance with properties similar to conventional quicksand, but with the added deadly factor of extreme heat. Forensic analysis indicated that the family had become trapped simultaneously, suggesting they had been walking close together when the ground gave way beneath them, and that the thermal conditions had likely caused rapid unconsciousness, meaning they had not suffered prolonged agony before death. The remarkable preservation of organic material and personal belongings allowed investigators to reconstruct the family's activities during their final day, including photographs on Karen's camera that showed they had been documenting unusual geothermal features and geological formations in areas far from any established trails. David Morrison's field notebook, found with the remains, contained detailed observations about thermal activity and ground stability that indicated he had been aware of potential dangers but had underestimated the extent of the hazard they were encountering. The twins' personal items, including their hiking journals and camera, revealed that Ashley and Brittany had been excited about exploring areas of the park that few visitors ever saw, and had been actively participating in their father's geological research and their mother's photography project. The location where the family died was found to contain several other similar thermal quicksand formations that had been completely unknown to park geologists, leading to a comprehensive survey of the area and the identification of numerous previously unrecognized hazards. The unique preservation conditions had also trapped other organic material, including the remains of wildlife that had met similar fates over the years, providing scientists with valuable data about the long-term effects of thermal preservation and the extent of these hidden dangers in Yellowstone. Dr. Williams and her team published their findings in several scientific journals, contributing new knowledge about geothermal processes while recommending enhanced safety measures for both researchers and visitors in thermal areas. The case demonstrated that even experienced outdoors enthusiasts with professional knowledge of geology could encounter natural hazards that were impossible to predict or avoid. highlighting the inherent risks of exploring Yellowstone's more remote and dangerous areas. The Morrison family's tragic fate served as a powerful reminder that Yellowstone's beauty concealed deadly forces that could claim lives instantly and without warning, even among those who thought they understood the park's dangers. The discovery and recovery of the Morrison family's remains sparked nationwide discussions about visitor safety in national parks and led to significant changes in how Yellowstone and other parks manage access to dangerous thermal areas while balancing public enjoyment with safety concerns. Jennifer Morrison, while devastated by the confirmation of her worst fears, expressed gratitude for finally having answers and being able to lay her family members to rest, transforming her grief into renewed advocacy for wilderness safety and scientific research into natural hazards. The Morrison Family Foundation expanded its mission to include funding for geological research into thermal hazards, supporting the development of ground-penetrating radar systems that could identify unstable areas, and promoting education about the hidden dangers present in geothermal environments. Yellowstone National Park implemented new safety protocols based on lessons learned from the Morrison case, including enhanced geological surveys of backcountry areas, improved warning systems for thermal hazards, and restricted access to areas where similar quicksand formations might exist. The case prompted the National Park Service to conduct comprehensive reviews of safety procedures at all parks with geothermal features, leading to standardized protocols for identifying and marking dangerous areas while improving emergency response capabilities. Dr. Williams and her research team continued studying the thermal quicksand phenomenon, discovering several additional formations throughout Yellowstone and developing new techniques for detecting these hidden hazards before they could claim more lives. The Morrison family story became a powerful educational tool used by park rangers, geology professors, and safety organizations to illustrate the importance of staying on marked trails and understanding that even experienced outdoors enthusiasts can encounter unpredictable natural hazards. The scientific knowledge gained from studying the preservation conditions that had maintained the Morrison family's remains contributed to advances in forensic science, archaeology, and our understanding of how extreme environments can affect organic material over long periods. Memorial services held in Colorado and at Yellowstone honored the Morrison family's memory, while raising awareness about thermal safety and the ongoing need for research into natural hazards that could affect park visitors. The case also influenced the design and placement of new visitor centers and educational displays that specifically address the unique dangers of thermal areas and the importance of respecting park boundaries and safety guidelines. The Morrison family's tragic fate demonstrated that Yellowstone's geothermal features, while creating some of the world's most spectacular natural wonders, also posed risks that were not always visible or predictable, even to those with scientific training and extensive outdoor experience. Their legacy lives on through improved safety measures, enhanced scientific understanding of thermal hazards, and continued efforts to protect future visitors while allowing them to experience the incredible natural wonders that make Yellowstone one of America's most treasured landscapes. The scientific breakthroughs and safety improvements that emerged from the Morrison family case had lasting impacts on both geological research and wilderness safety protocols, while their story became a cornerstone example of how tragedy can drive positive change in natural resource management and public safety. The Morrison Family Foundation partnered with universities and government agencies to fund ongoing research into geothermal hazards, leading to the development of new technologies for detecting unstable ground conditions and mapping thermal features that pose risks to human safety. Jennifer Morrison became a nationally recognized expert on wilderness safety and missing persons advocacy, consulting with park services, search and rescue organizations, and safety equipment manufacturers on improving protocols and technologies for preventing and responding to similar tragedies. The thermal quicksand formations discovered through the Morrison case prompted geological surveys throughout the western United States, leading to the identification of similar hazards in other geothermal areas and the development of new safety guidelines for researchers and visitors. The case influenced changes in how geology and outdoor recreation programs prepare students and enthusiasts for fieldwork in hazardous environments, with the Morrison family's experience becoming a standard case study in risk assessment and safety planning. The preservation conditions that had maintained the Morrison family's remains for 11 years provided researchers with unique opportunities to study long-term effects of thermal exposure on organic materials, contributing to advances in forensic science and archaeological techniques. The advanced ground-penetrating radar systems developed in response to the case were adopted by search and rescue organizations worldwide, improving their ability to locate missing persons in challenging terrain and dangerous environments. The Morrison case also prompted improvements in communication systems for backcountry areas, with new emergency beacons and satellite communication devices designed specifically for use in areas where traditional rescue methods might be ineffective or dangerous. Annual conferences on wilderness safety and geothermal hazards, inspired by the Morrison family story, brought together experts from multiple fields to share knowledge and develop new strategies for preventing similar tragedies. The family's tragic fate continued to influence park management policies, with their experience serving as a reminder that even the most experienced and well-prepared visitors could encounter natural hazards that were impossible to anticipate or survive. The Morrison Family Memorial Trail, established near their former campsite, provided visitors with educational opportunities to learn about thermal safety while honoring the memory of a family whose love of nature and scientific curiosity had ultimately cost them their lives, but had contributed to protecting countless future visitors through the knowledge gained from their tragedy. 15 years after the discovery of the Morrison family's remains, their story continued to influence wilderness safety practices and geological research, while serving as a powerful reminder of both the beauty and danger inherent in America's most spectacular natural environments. The Morrison Family Foundation had grown into an international organization that provided safety equipment, training, and research funding to outdoor enthusiasts, researchers, and park services in more than 30 countries with geothermal features and other natural hazards. Jennifer Morrison had dedicated her life to wilderness safety advocacy, earning recognition from the National Park Service, the U.S. Geological Survey, and international safety organizations for her contributions to preventing similar tragedies while supporting families dealing with missing persons cases in natural areas. The advanced detection technologies developed in response to the Morrison case had been deployed in geothermal areas worldwide, identifying and marking hundreds of previously unknown hazards while contributing to scientific understanding of thermal processes and ground stability. The case had inspired a new generation of geologists and safety experts who specialized in identifying and mitigating natural hazards in recreational areas, ensuring that the Morrison family's tragedy would continue to protect others through improved knowledge and technology. Yellowstone National Park had become a model for thermal safety management, with other geothermal areas around the world adopting similar protocols for visitor education, hazard identification, and emergency response based on lessons learned from the Morrison case. The scientific papers and research projects that emerged from studying the thermal quicksand phenomenon had contributed to multiple fields of study, from geology and chemistry to forensic science and environmental safety, proving that even tragic discoveries could advance human knowledge in meaningful ways. The Morrison family's story had been featured in numerous documentaries, books, and educational programs that combined their personal tragedy with broader lessons about respecting natural forces and understanding the risks inherent in wilderness exploration. Memorial scholarships established in their names had funded the education of dozens of students pursuing careers in geology, park management, wilderness safety, and search and rescue operations, ensuring that their legacy would continue to benefit future generations. The thermal area where they died had been permanently closed to public access, and designated as a research zone where scientists could safely study similar formations while developing better methods for identifying and avoiding such hazards. The Morrison case remained a standard example in wilderness safety training programs, emergency response courses, and geology curricula, teaching new professionals about the importance of risk assessment, safety protocols, and the unpredictable nature of natural hazards even in well-studied environments. 2 decades after the Morrison family's tragic disappearance, their legacy continued to evolve and expand, influencing not only wilderness safety and geological research, but also inspiring broader conversations about how families can safely enjoy natural wonders while respecting the powerful forces that create them. The Morrison Family Foundation had established research stations at several major geothermal areas around the world, providing scientists with safe platforms for studying thermal hazards while developing new technologies for protecting visitors and researchers in dangerous environments. Jennifer Morrison had authored several books about wilderness safety and family tragedy, becoming a sought-after speaker at international conferences on outdoor recreation, natural hazard management, and emergency preparedness for families exploring remote areas. The ground-penetrating radar and thermal detection systems originally developed to locate the Morrison family had evolved into sophisticated technologies used by emergency responders, archaeologists, and environmental scientists working in challenging conditions worldwide. Universities had established the Morrison Center for Wilderness Safety Research, bringing together experts from multiple disciplines to study natural hazards, develop safety technologies, and train the next generation of professionals who work to protect people in dangerous natural environments. The case had influenced international standards for geothermal safety, with organizations like the United Nations and the International Association of Geoparks adopting guidelines based on lessons learned from the Morrison family's experience and subsequent research. Yellowstone's visitor education programs prominently featured the Morrison family's story as part of comprehensive safety briefings that helped millions of annual visitors understand and respect the park's thermal hazards, while still allowing them to experience its natural wonders. The thermal quicksand formations that claimed the Morrison family's lives had become subjects of ongoing scientific study, contributing to improved understanding of geothermal processes and helping identify similar hazards in other locations before they could cause additional tragedies. The family's photographs and research notes, recovered with their remains, had been compiled into a memorial exhibition that traveled to natural history museums and visitor centers, combining their scientific work and artistic vision with educational messages about wilderness safety. Annual memorial services at Yellowstone brought together family members, scientists, park rangers, and safety advocates who honored the Morrison family's memory while recommitting to the ongoing work of protecting visitors and advancing knowledge about natural hazards. The Morrison family's story had transcended its tragic origins to become a symbol of how love for nature, scientific curiosity, and family bonds could create lasting positive change even in the face of unimaginable loss, proving that their legacy would continue to protect and inspire others for generations to come. Today, more than 20 years after David, Karen, Ashley, and Brittany Morrison vanished into Yellowstone's unforgiving wilderness, their story continues to resonate as both a cautionary tale about nature's hidden dangers and an inspiring example of how tragedy can be transformed into lasting positive change that protects countless others. The Morrison Family Foundation operates research and education programs in national parks and geothermal areas on 6 continents, having prevented numerous potential tragedies through improved hazard detection, visitor education, and emergency response capabilities developed in direct response to the family's fate. Jennifer Morrison, now in her 70s but still actively involved in wilderness safety advocacy, continues to share her family's story with new generations of outdoor enthusiasts, park managers, and safety professionals who carry forward the mission of protecting people while allowing them to experience nature's wonders. The technologies and safety protocols inspired by the Morrison case have become standard features of wilderness management worldwide. With thermal detection systems, ground stability monitors, and emergency communication networks protecting millions of visitors to dangerous natural areas each year, Yellowstone National Park serves as a living memorial to the Morrison family, with educational displays, safety demonstrations, and research facilities that ensure their story continues to educate and protect visitors while advancing scientific understanding of geothermal hazards. The thermal quicksand formation that claimed their lives has been studied extensively by scientists from around the world, contributing to groundbreaking research that has improved our understanding of geothermal processes and helped identify and neutralize similar hazards in other locations. The Morrison family's photographs, research notes, and personal journals have been preserved in the Yellowstone archives, providing future researchers and educators with powerful first-hand accounts of their final expedition and the scientific curiosity that drove them to explore areas where few had ventured before. Memorial scholarships and research grants established in their names have supported hundreds of students and professionals working in geology, park management, wilderness safety, and emergency response, ensuring that their legacy continues to benefit society through improved knowledge and protection of natural areas. The annual Morrison Family Memorial Symposium brings together experts from around the world to share the latest developments in wilderness safety, natural hazard research, and family-oriented outdoor recreation, keeping their memory alive while advancing the cause they died pursuing. Their story serves as an eternal reminder that even the most experienced and well-prepared families can encounter natural forces beyond human control, but also demonstrates how love, determination, and scientific inquiry can transform personal tragedy into lasting benefits for all humanity. The Morrison family's legacy proves that while nature's beauty can inspire us to explore and discover, it also demands our respect and understanding, and that the greatest tribute to those who have been claimed by natural forces is to use their experience to protect others who follow in their footsteps, ensuring that their love of nature and each other continues to make the world a safer place for families seeking adventure and wonder in America's most spectacular wilderness areas.